Hello and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Today I'm going to show you how I painted this tabby cat with an extended palette and a rich black. A few weeks ago I showed you how to paint a tabby cat with a limited Zorn palette. Today's video is different because I will be working with more colours and no black. If you are thinking about painting a tabby cat and have not done so before, I would suggest watching the other video and trying a limited palette first because it is easier to paint with less colours. Let's get straight into the video and I will talk about what I am doing as I go along. This cat was painted in 4 sittings. The first layer is a sketchy underpainting to get my drawing correct. Getting my drawing correct is important because it doesn't matter how well I paint something, if the drawing is not correct, it will look off. Conversely, I can get away with a bit of dodgy brushwork if my drawing is correct. So focusing on getting my drawing correct first is important. I use mineral spirits to water down my paint so that it dries quickly. I will then work on the painting as a whole in the next 3 sittings. I'll use a little bit of linseed oil to make my paint a bit more pliable in sittings 2, 3 and 4. I tend to use the linseed oil in the larger areas like background, anywhere I am attempting to get a bit more paint down. I don't tend to use it in areas that require a bit more precision and detail, as the problem with linseed oil is if you use too much of it, you can lose control of your painting very quickly. As a rule, I am more likely to use it in areas where I am painting a bit more expressively. The palette that I am using is cadmium yellow, yellow ochre light, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, burnt umber, ultramarine deep and zinc titanium white. I'm painting onto oil painting paper. This is the paper that I'm using. I am mixing my black from 50% burnt umber and 50% ultramarine. If you think about burnt umber as an orange, I am basically mixing 2 complementaries together, so orange and blue. One neutralises the other, and as they are both so dark in value, this gives me my black. I can then use this mixture exactly as I would a black, so I can mix it into my colours to give me a darker value where needed. If I add white, it gives me a grey. But the great thing about a rich black is I can easily adjust my temperature. For example, if I mix in 75% blue and 25% brown, I will have a cooler black. If I mix in 75% brown and 25% blue, I will have a warmer black. Getting the right temperature in your painting is important because it will help create a sense of form and will help you avoid muddy or chalky colours. Muddy or chalky colours are caused by incorrect temperature choice. So the artist has selected a colour that is either too warm or too cool compared to the one that's next to it. I should also say that a painting may also look muddy, chalky if the value is wrong too. By value, I mean how light or dark an area is. So if you have an issue with muddy, chalky colours, check your value first, and if it is not this, then it will be your temperatures. It is also important to understand that ivory black has a blue leaning, and so will always be a cool colour. White is even cooler. By mixing black with white, I will get a very cool grey. But I won't have this issue with a rich black, as I can control whether I want a warm black or a cool black very easily. Even if I add white, I can still control how warm my grey is by how much blue or brown I put in my black to start with. If I show you a photo of the finished painting, you'll be able to see these temperature shifts more easily. For the really dark areas, I have used a warm black, so more brown. I then shift the temperature of my darks slightly by adding more blue and a bit of white. This gives me more of a blue-brown. As I lighten further, I move back to a more even mix of blue and brown. But the addition of the white, as I get lighter, still makes this brown appear cool in comparison to the very dark, warm black it is near. As I move into the lighter areas still, I just begin to transition into my burnt umber, or I may add some alizarin crimson to my brown to change the hue into more of a red brown. To lighten my brown, I am either using just white, but remember white will make my mixture cooler, or as I have done in these areas here, I have added either yellow ochre light or cadmium red, or a combination of the two. The rich black also gives me a great base grey for my white fur, so brown plus blue plus white, which I have used predominantly in this area here. I have adjusted my mix with more purple in these areas just here and here. I have mixed a purple grey from alizarin crimson and ultramarine and added it to my rich black grey. For my really warm light areas, I have used yellow ochre light, cadmium red and white. I have mixed in a little of my rich black grey to neutralise that orange, so it is not too saturated. For the eyes, I have mixed a little rich black into cadmium yellow to give it more of that olive green hue, and then adjusted the value by adding white, whilst adjusting the temperature if I need to with either a bit more cadmium yellow or some yellow ochre light. Remember that adding white to a colour will knock out the saturation as well as making it cooler, so you will need to adjust both the temperature and the colour once you have added the white. For the background, I have used my rich black with a heavy blue leaning plus a bit of white, and for the warm areas I have used my burnt umber plus yellow ochre light. I find it easier to use soft brushes like the long-haired combers by Rosemary & Co. These brushes allow you to add wet paint on top of wet paint and pull areas into each other. I also think they are great for creating the effect of fur with minimal effort. I hope you have enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you can, and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching, and see you for the next one.